The things that I think really made a difference were
How would you like to double the size of your choir in just 2 years? Welcome to Choir Success, where we uncover the best practices for managing choirs and choruses in the modern age so that you and your music and your whole community can thrive. I'm super excited to start this interview series with Lars Myron. Lars is not just a great guy, he's also the executive director of Columbia Choirs. He also is a lifelong singer and came up through that same organization. He's also got a business degree and training in photography and videography, and he has a lot of really powerful and useful tips to help you grow your choir. And I'm super excited to share it. It's going to be a video series, and so if you want to be notified when each new episode drops, you have to subscribe to the channel and click on that bell icon, and YouTube will let you know. And now on with the interview.
Lars, welcome to the program.
thank you for having me.
First of all, you've had a lot of success growing the choir. And so why don't you tell us, and we'll get into how you did it in this whole series, which is kind of what it's all about. But where were you in 2022 in the middle of that year, and where are you now?
Sure. So, completing our 2022 season, so June of 2022, we had 163 members across all of our choirs. So again, that's children, youth, and adults. Fast forward to today, my data point is really the beginning of this season. So about 18 months after that first data point, we started the season with 316 members, so 94%. I like to to say double the
Right.
size, essentially.
I think people would accept a doubling as it's 94% higher.
I
Yeah.
appreciate the grace there, yeah.
Fantastic. And of course, that's something that a lot of groups would love to do, to double their numbers in 2 years. And we're going to get into the detail of how you went about that and what your philosophy is around all of that, because I think a lot of people would love to understand how they might repeat that kind of impact. But what was obviously, if you're half the size 2 years ago, that had financial impact on the group. That probably made things very difficult. What has been the impact for you of doubling the size of your choir?
Well, a lot of positive impact. I think, that first data point, 163, was for us small. We took the same hit that I think a lot of organizations did throughout the pandemic. So this was really not only rebuilding, but pushing forward way past anywhere we had ever been before. So the biggest impact has been morale, community building, um, momentum. That 21 to 22 season was really hard. We had a lot of really loyal folks that stuck with us. That was this also a year that we welcomed a new artistic director. So our founder retired, and that was our artistic director, Katrina Turman. That was her first year. So a lot of kind of building up of new philosophies and concepts and direction, and we had amazing staff during that time, and we still do. But it was tough. So we knew we had to do something. We had to grow quickly, not only uh, to sustain our organization financially, but also because we just wanted to move forward. We wanted to have this feeling of this is a real force in the community and a force for everyone involved.
Right, that makes sense.
Today's episode is brought to you by Choir Genius. If you're watching this channel, you already know that managing a choir can be really challenging, especially with limited resources. Choir Genius is a software platform, both a website and a mobile app, that makes it much easier. With tools for managing members, planning events, simplifying registration, and boosting donations, it combines many tools into one simple solution. See the difference for yourself and try it for free at choirgenius.com. And now, back to the interview.
Yes. And so the people who want to really get to the detail of that, they're probably going to subscribe to this whole series so they can see each new episode as it pops up. And just at a very high level, without getting into too much of the detail right away, what can people expect to, what are the kind of chapters that they'll expect to hear from you if they subscribe to this video series?
Sure. So I've tried to kind of boil it down to what I think are the sort of key factors. Of course, it's every decision plays into this, but the things that I think really made a difference were we invested time and and money into professional photography and videography. And I think that has really made maybe not as much of a measurable difference because we don't have that intensive analytics, but it's made a real difference.
It's very hard to compare what happened with something that didn't happen, right? You know?
Yes. Yes. So that's the first thing. Messaging has been something, so marketing messaging has been something that I've been trying to kind of wrangle my entire time helping Columbia Choirs with marketing. But I think something finally clicked a couple years ago. So I'll talk about marketing messaging. Um, I'm going to talk about the marketing funnel. This is something I learned in business school, but I do think it's relevant. Really taking folks from the stage of learning about your organization all the way through the process of them deciding whether or not they're going to join or enroll. So I want to kind of talk through some of the key things that I think were really successful for us. And then I'm going to talk about onboarding. So this is post-enrollment, but I think it's really important to not just once you get that first tuition payment, to kind of, okay, great, we've got them, but we've been trying really hard to make onboarding of new members and really onboarding of returning members streamlined, consistent, and clear. And then, as a sort of wrap up aside, I want to talk through some of the growing pains we've felt because there have been a lot of upsides, but there have been some real things that we've had to kind of catch up on in terms of our organizational capacity. Doubling the amount of members means doubling the amount of people asking questions and processes that we have to create. So we'll kind of wrap it up by looking back on some of the lessons learned and hopes that other folks that are wanting to set out on this path think about now, so they're not caught off guard.
Yeah, I think that's going to be amazing for everybody to see. I want to go back just a little bit. Oh, first of all, let me say that I'm so happy to hear you talk about business concepts because every choir kind of inherently is a business. In my opinion, you know, they've got a product which is the experience that people have, and it's the music that they make, and you know, it's actually a fairly complicated product in some ways, but they also live and die based on money in, money out. One of my mentors, as I've gone through making a number of different businesses over the years, told me something that stuck with me, which was that there's only one thing that can actually kill your business, and that is running out of money, right? And
Yep.
that's as true for a choir as it is for any other kind of business. And so I think it's completely appropriate that you would bring in business concepts, marketing funnels, and messaging, and all of that stuff. I think the musical people of the world who love to start choirs would do better if they really dived into those topics and learn to make it work. But let me also ask you a question to follow up on something previously. Now, you've gone from kind of 160 to 300 and something, 94% up. And I neglected to ask you, you're projecting to continue that, right? You probably, where do you see yourself in 1 year and in 2 years? Will you be bigger than ever, more successful, or do you see other kind of obstacles that you might have to overcome?
Yeah, so we're projecting for next year, we're hoping to grow another 15 or 20%. So our first year of growth was about 50% year to year. This last year of growth was about 30%. So we are kind of seeing some slowing down, but that's kind of by design. There are certain capacities and organizational capacities, educational capacities where we do kind of hit a max in some of our groups. Some of our groups also, we don't have a max, and the conductors say, keep them coming. So we are by design trying to plateau a little bit. And then
Mhm.
our next year, we'll be starting to really dig into what that next step is. I have some ideas, and we've started some conversations internally about expanding geographically potentially.
Right.
Um, but our core hub, which is based in Redmond, Washington, which I guess I didn't say at the beginning, suburb of Seattle, backdoor of Microsoft.
Right.
Uh, that's really what we've been focusing on is strengthening that sort of core geolocation. So that's kind of our next goal, but I don't have much more to say at this point about what that might look like.
Yeah, no, fair enough. There's a vision that goes beyond where we are today, and then, but of course, I think slowing down, consolidating, making that base really solid, and then moving forward in the direction that you and your other stakeholders choose is undoubtedly the right way to go. Well, I think that's probably where we should wrap it up for episode 1 here, but I'm super excited for episodes 2 through 6, where we'll talk about the details of some of these things. Thank you for being here,
Thanks.
and we'll pick it up again. We're hoping to release 1 video a week, so if people subscribe, that's what they should expect.
I'm super excited about the next video in this series where Lars and I are going to talk about photography and how to incorporate that into your marketing. So remember, if you want to be notified, subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon, and click the like button so you can help other people find this content as well. Have yourself a great day.